What's up, everybody? Welcome to Tardy to the Party, aka T3P, where us two hooligans talk about the holy trinity of pop culture, Marvel, DC, and Star Wars. I'm your boy Jsib, and joined by, as always,
KP here.
So, so for once, actually, we're deviating a little bit here from the Holy Trinity. Invincible Season 2 premiered last night for us. Starts off strong, baby.
It did. I was like, wait a minute. Yeah, and then I actually, as the beginning was kind of going on, I remembered seeing something a long time ago about what they were gonna dabble in, and yeah, so everyone's doing it.
Yeah, so
even though I know that this is probably something that was already a part of the original comic lines or graphic novel. Is okay, sorry, I don't know this. Is it a comic or is it a graphic novel?
yeah, it's a comic.
It's a comic, okay. And is it DC or is it some other independent?
I think it's Image.
Okay. Anyways. Yeah.
Yeah, this is one of the few superhero shows that luckily last season that I got to go into completely blind. I'd never read an Invincible comic. I heard amazing things about the comic line. I heard some amazing story. After watching season 1, I can see the hype. Episode 1 of that season I will never forget. My pitch to anybody who has never seen Invincible is watch the first episode all the way through. If you are not sold by the end of episode 1, the show's not for you.
Right. Yeah.
I love the twist that they put on at the very end of episode 1, where it seems like a very kiddie Justice League cartoon, and all of a sudden, nope.
Yeah, all of a sudden it's not that at all.
So we kind of pick off.
Yeah.
Well, I guess we can kind of keep it non-spoiler before I just start going.
Yeah, that's fine.
Overall, I really like where this season is starting off, and the things that they're setting up for throughout the rest of the season. I think the potential big villain for this season, I really like how they crafted him. Without getting into spoilers, just the way they developed the character throughout the episode.
Yeah.
Just a little, not enough Omni-Man for me. I'll just say that up front. But that's okay. Well, there's a reason for that. We get it, but still.
I mean, yeah. I wonder if.
Damn it! I want more J.K. Simmons.
I was gonna say, I think the verdict is kind of out on his character. So, see, that's hard to address, or hard for me to make a counter statement to that without kind of spoiling a little of the episode. So,
but I think overall, it's hard to talk about this. I'm just so excited about this show, but very strong start, I think.
Yeah,
happy with where the things are going. What do you think?
Yeah, strong start. Kind of at the very beginning, you'll be like, "Wait, what's going on here?" And then you kind of get introduced into what this show was doing. And when we get to Mark, Mark is, going through a tough time. I mean, as anyone would if, your dad, just, all of last season, your dad turns out to be this individual that was, hiding behind a mask, if you will.
That you aspired to be and wanted to be just like your whole life.
Yeah, and then you find out that really he's just a big asshole. So Mark's kind of going through it. I liked that a lot. There's There's some pretty good comedy bits that were placed in the episode. I found myself laughing at one part that was pretty cute. Uh, and then as far as the setup of this villain, it was pretty cool how they did it. I liked how they did it. It's going to be interesting how that really how that plays out. So we'll see. I'll admit, man, this is like a show though that even as I watched this first episode, I mean, yeah, they have like the recap at the beginning, but this show, along with another anime I watch, or I should say, an anime I watch. I probably should have binged through the first season again, or all the material up to it, just to like refresh it in my brain. Because, I mean, season 1 of this show was, I feel like a while, like over a year ago, like maybe even a year and a half ago. I could be very wrong, but no, I thought that this was a strong start, and just like, it's got me wanting more. But that's okay. That's okay. It's something to look forward to each week, for a while, for like a 2-month period, It's something to hold me over until another show gets dropped, which that show's getting apparently dropped all at once, so I don't know how I feel about that, but I'm hyped for that show. Especially after watching the trailer today. But anyways, we can get into that later. Yeah, so that's the good thing, is that like, I'm sitting here like, well, I want the next episode. But at the same time, it's nice to, not get like 2 or 3 on the drop, because then it's like, okay, I watched this show for a month and now I don't have anything to watch.
I agree.
I don't pay for cable like most people nowadays. We all pay for streaming services, so yeah.
I just got the YouTube too.
Anyone that's watching, you probably are like, man, he doesn't seem like that excited about this, even though he's saying he's liking it. Well, I mean, because non-spoiler, I don't really get too excited, but as we'll talk about it, I will most likely get pretty excited about discussing this.
Well, I think it's a good time to jump into spoilers. Definitely recommend a watch.
Yeah,
I adored
absolutely.
the first season, so I'm hoping this keeps that upward trend of just
Amazon's got some good. Amazon Prime actually, it's got some good stuff. There's a lot of stuff out there that we haven't really ever discussed before, and then there's stuff that like we haven't even watched, but I've heard a lot of good things. And I'm strictly speaking outside of like the superhero genre shows, like The Boys, Gen V, and then Invincible. There's another show called like The Peripheral, and then I think there's Wheel of Time is another one, and those are, I believe those shows were also reviewed very well. So
I watched Peripheral.
Yeah.
I got canceled. So
they cancel it.
Yeah, I think the strikes probably had something to do with it. Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's officially canceled.
Man. I won't lie. I mean, as much as I watched it, I started it, and like I liked it, but then I just kind of stopped watching it. Maybe something else came out, and I never went back. But I meant to finish it. That sucks though that it's canceled, man. That sucks. I did not know that. So
didn't hurt as much as Westworld getting canceled, I'll tell you that. But
yeah, and that's a show I never, like, you finished that. I did not finish that. I watched the first episode of the 3rd season and I was like, yeah, I can't do this.
We just needed one more season. But anyway, let's just get into the spoilers of Invincible. Yeah. We start off with Invincible fighting Immortal.
Right, yeah. So I was kind of like, what the hell is going on? And then at first, I'm just like, oh, well, maybe it's because Immortal's crazy, because I remembered, like, oh, yeah, they brought him back to life in the first season. But then, as Immortals, fighting Invincible, just Omni-Man out of the sky. And I was like, oh, okay, so, alright, so Omni-Man's right back. Okay, cool. He just had to fly off in space for a little bit, and then, yeah.
Yeah, so at first I was like, is this the future? Is this a dream?
Yeah, right.
Is this
Same.
is this like a different reality? Like what's going on here?
I sat and immediately was like, well, this must be like a future or something. And then as it proceeds. Yeah, go ahead. Yeah.
Yeah, just like right after that they track down the
like a resistance faction.
Yeah, resistance,
yeah. Something, I don't know.
Underground, which we meet
yeah.
I can't remember his first name, but Levy, who comes into play later in the episode, or
yeah,
version of Levy, I guess.
Yeah.
We also have Eve down there.
Right. And then the guy that uses the robot, what the hell's his name? The guy that like he transferred his mind into the kid in the first season, but is
it Ray? No, I don't know.
Can't remember his name.
Is Rex is the one that he got the DNA from, right? Yeah,
I believe so.
He's basically like a miniature or a younger version of Rex now.
Right.
Yeah, you're right. Probably should have benched the first season. But
I know, right, dude?
Immediately, just when you see like I don't know the shaved head on Eve and just the different variations, like to me that to me was just like, all right, this is like an apocalyptic future, or it's just an alternate reality, or he's gonna wake up from a dream still. But I'm leaning more towards one or two.
So I thought the same thing, but then I kind of remembered that they said they would be dabbling in a multiverse. A multiverse. Yeah, I remembered that, so I sat there. I was like, well, it's got to be option 2, right? Like this is an alternate reality, right? Because like, what the hell happened that Mark just flicked a switch and he's like, yeah, my dad's right. Like, fuck all the humans and we're gonna take over Earth and make it better for everyone. And I just thought like, no, I sat there. I was like, I could have sworn they said how they were gonna deal with like a multiverse in some way for this season because I just remember reading that on Twitter like a long time ago. So that's where my brain was like, it's got to be that. And then as it proceeds, they think they got like this kryptonite energy for Omni-Man. I forget what the negative energy or something they called it. I don't know. Like it didn't work, of course. And then the version of the Levi character is giving him the self-righteous speech of like how like justice will be served to you one day, and basically kind of showing how like they all hate Omni-Man and Mark, or Nolan and Mark, Omni-Man and Invincible, and then he just falls through this green portal. I like how Mark was just like, what the hell was that? And Omni-Man's like, who cares? Let's just kill these people and go eat something.
Hungry, man.
Yeah, he's like, I'm hungry. I remember he's like, I had to skip lunch because of like some other guy, and yeah.
At least we finally got another just great zinger by Omni-Man during this whole thing when he's fighting the baby character, and when he like cracks the glass, and so whatever the liquid he needs to survive starts pouring out, and he's like, you will die too one day. And he's like, Omni-Man just goes, yeah, you should have died at birth. I was just like, Jesus Christ.
Yeah, that was when he said that to him, I was like, Jesus Christ.
Oh man. Such a savage.
Yes.
But I think after that scene, I think when it cuts back to our Grayson.
So yes,
flying through, making saves through all out the city. Doesn't really seem to care too much really for the people. He just seems to kind of just keep going on to the next job, on to the next one. There's a couple times where it looks like he's trying to like hold back his rage from being like becoming his father.
Yeah.
Especially the one where he shows up with the police there. I think it's at the bank, and it's got like the magma person and tentacles coming out of the chest. You can tell he's like really like pissed off, and then he's just like, and then the other like security team comes down and has those like fancy like green weaponry or whatever, and then the cop's all sad boy because he feels inferior. He's like, no, why do I even work here anymore?
Right. Oh, Rudy is the name of the guy who controls the robot.
Close-ish.
Yeah.
I got the R and the Y.
I'm looking at the cast now, and the guy who voices Cecil, Walton Goggins. I was sitting there the whole time I'm watching it. I'm like, I fucking know that voice, damn it, and like I couldn't think of the actor of who it was, and yeah, it was. If you've ever, he does a show with Danny McBride. It's a dark comedy. It's absolutely hilarious. Substitutes, I think, is what it's called, or something like that. But yeah. Anyways. Or not substitutes, but it's about how they're teachers at a high school. But anyways, yeah, so it does get back to our university. Yeah, I got the same feeling too. Like Mark's like kind of like, eh.
Even with
yeah,
like
he
the song playing in the background too is just very like.
And he saw like the super villains, if you will, and he like got that rage immediately, and like it was flashing like his dad like fucking him up, and he was like getting angry, but then he just, like you said, he's just like, you can tell this character's kind of lost.
Right, I mean, he just found out his dad's a fucking piece of shit. Like literally one of the biggest assholes in the whole universe.
Right. Yeah, in the whole universe. Yeah.
I aspire to be you, and I hate you.
Right.
Almost beat me to death.
Yeah.
Next, is this where it cuts to Levy? I might be getting stuff like recruiting the Maulers. Well, it shows the Maulers in prison.
shows the Maulers in prison, and then they get to walk out a portal. The Maulers, of course, and their smart mouths. They say to the guy that like how like yeah, I farted a portal out of my ass or something, and
I shit portals now.
Yeah, I shit portals now or something. So they walk through, and then they get to that one reality, or a reality, if you will, and the Levy just he kind of starts talking to them, and he's a little mysterious, and the Maulers basically with their high intellect, they guess how like, let me guess, you can open portals between different dimensions, but you can't open portals within the same dimension. And he's like, he's like, just what makes you think that? And he's like, the fact that we're walking right now. It's just like, yeah, so that was like pretty cool. And then yeah, so you weren't getting ahead. No, that's where it goes. So then Levy, I think, takes the Maulers to back to their own, like the prime dimension that we're used to seeing. And then I believe that's when, because this plays out for a long time, doesn't it? Like these three.
A little bit. He basically just tells them that he needs their scientific mind to help him with something, and he comes off as like a genuinely like good guy. He seems like he's using the Maulers as like a last resort. He doesn't want to kill anybody.
That's right.
He doesn't want his like.
He tells them how it's
in blood or whatever.
Yeah. He says to them specifically about how like he's like really, he's a pacifist, so him working with them is like drawing a fine line with his like his like morality or something, is how he words it. So that was really cool. So this guy's like he his intended purpose is good. So
seems that way. I did like how he was just like, and if you guys don't help me, I'll just either leave you here or dump you off somewhere worse. Like,
right? Yeah.
That's what you guys get for being pieces of shit. So help me.
Right.
Where does it go after? Is that when I feel like Invincible and Eve talking?
It is later.
Or is this the letter college letter.
No, that's the college letter scenes even later. Towards the end. Where it goes from here is that shit. I want to say,
or is this where the new team captains get introduced?
This is where like the new Guardians get introduced and they're fighting the giant. Because oh no, I remember now. So then from there it shows the wives, and they just kind of have their spell about how like, well, Nolan's an asshole, and his Mark's mother, Debbie, she's like, that bastard told me that I was basically like a pet to him after 20 years of marriage. She's like, I was a goddamn fucking pet. How she says it, and it's like, well, yeah, that would hurt anyone's feelings, and it's like with those two, that's real quick, and then it goes to I think the new Guardians team.
Actually, no.
Mark.
Well, not quite. Sorry. Well, I might have skipped something. But also, Olga, I believe is her name, handed her some card that was black with like a bunch of red dashes.
Oh yeah.
On it. Don't know what that's
I don't really know
about.
what that meant. Yeah, I don't really know what that's about. Yeah.
So I imagine that's a thread that'll get picked up later.
Probably, yeah.
But then, yeah, the Guardians are fighting this big red
Titan, like giant,
eight-year-old, like ogre demon.
Well, I just love how the one guy's throwing like energy blasts at him or something. He's like, "You smashed my favorite car, you asshole!" And he's just like, "Don't." The giant is, "Don't call me that." That was just from that minute I knew. I was like, "Oh, this scene will be hilarious." And he's like, "I want to be president of the United States and also be an astronaut." And that's when Rudy says, like, judging by his vocabulary and what he's saying, or the way that he's able to articulate his words and what he's saying, I would say that he's probably got the same intellect to that of an 8-year-old. Oh man!
But I like the
Rudy.
I like the I like the team play here. They worked very, very well as a team, I thought, which was interesting.
Yeah, and like Rudy's like the captain, but then he has a moment where he freezes up and like he talks to Monster Girl and he's like, "I don't know, I just froze up," and she's like, "Yeah, that's called fear, because now you're like here. You're not like playing a video game anymore. You're actually here.
You're Iron Man now.
You're Iron Man now. So you can get killed," and that's like what it was. So that was kind of interesting.
I mean, you saw Endgame.
You can totally die.
Tony died. You could die.
You could die, man. Yeah. So yeah, that was just that was pretty good.
I did like that thread. I think that's a good building block to Rudy's character about basically. I mean, he's been in search of humanity, and this is a nice little, probably unexpected layer that they weren't expecting.
Yeah, and then I think after that fight or something, then it kind of cuts to Mark, and he's not really having the best time in school. Like, it's more of his like he doesn't really understand his purpose in life, and then Eve eventually consults with him, and I think she takes Mark to Cecil, who Mark just says to Cecil, like, "I want to be back out in the field. He's like, I'll do what you say. I'll be your lapdog. I don't care. I just want to be back out on the field.
Just get me out of school, man. I can't be cramped up in there. I need to save lives. To make up for my mistakes."
Yeah. Right, pretty much. I think I skipped over to a little, maybe not though. I can't remember, even though I literally just watched it. I still can't remember where it's placed at. That then we get back to Levi and the Marauders, and Levi basically tells the Marauders how he's like, there's an infinite number of dimensions, multiple universes. And he goes, and what was interesting about it was how he said how, like, he goes, and a lot of those dimensions, he's like, "Do you remember how Invincible fought Omni-Man a few months back? And then Omni-Man just kind of left the planet, and he said, yeah, in most other dimensions, he's like, Invincible teams up with Omni-Man and they just take over the Earth. And I sat there and I was like, wow, okay, they're going that direction with it, okay. And
I mean, our
so,
Mark is special.
right, I was gonna say, yeah, that means that this universe we're watching is special. So, oh shit. Oh, okay, good. Yeah, I'm good. Sorry. I accidentally pressed something on my keyboard and I thought it was gonna cut my video feed, but it didn't. Yeah, so our mark is special. But Levi basically reveals to the Marauders that he's went around all the dimensions and he's collected the copies of himself, so then he can gain their collective multiversal knowledge and use the brain transfer machine that they've constructed, a bigger version of what we saw Rudy use in the first season. So then he can gain all knowledge throughout the multiverse. So then he can basically, like you said, he can build his utopia of peace. But Cecil and the government kind of noticed this spike in power when they turned the machine on. So then, Invincible kind of crashes that party. And you kind of knew too that it was going to go bad because the Marauders told Levi or Levy, however it is. They told him hey, once you're hooked up to this and we turn it on, you got to stay put till it's done.
Actually, you skipped some things. Because originally
Probably.
Because after Cecil denies him, and then after the way that the Guardians
Oh yeah, that's right, yeah.
Finished. Yeah, he tells Grayson you need to take some time off, rest. You've been through a lot. You don't seem like you're fully yourself yet.
I forgot they talked one time before he went back to him. That's right.
Mark even says something well, you can't stop me from being a superhero. If I want to be a superhero, I will. To which Cecil is just and who do you think I've heard that from before? So, I really liked that dynamic. I really love how Mark is having this
internal conflict.
Yeah, internal conflict of he's obviously angry with everything he's been through. Doesn't want to become his dad, but despite all this turmoil, he's slowly in ways cracking through and showing ways that he's similar to his dad, but going through a lot. You can't necessarily blame him. I mean, but
right, yeah.
After that, though, then that's when the new members of the Guardians get introduced because they didn't do as efficient of a job because they got the job done, right? From what I remember, despite
I think they get the job done, but they get the job done, but Cecil's not happy because they got it. That took them too long, which caused a lot of damage to the city and people dying.
Right.
So Cecil basically scolded the whole team for that. And that's when he introduces the team how their new leader now. Yeah.
He's back.
Their new leader now is going to be the Immortal. And he's like, yeah, I figure a guy with a couple thousand years of experience is probably a good thing for you guys. And then Bulletproof is the other one who has a smart ass conversation with the other hothead of the team, and yeah.
Also, I don't know if you caught this. The suit that Bulletproof is wearing is the first suit that Mark tries on when he was getting his suit.
I did not catch that.
So that's where that suit went.
Oh, okay, yeah.
You just sold it to somebody else or gave it to somebody else.
And we don't even know this Bulletproof's power. I loved how the guy's he's like, well, he's like, you got any other powers instead of, just the blatantly obvious with your name? So that'll be an interesting character to see develop because they didn't really show anything else of him. So
yeah.
It's
deflects bullets.
So yes, I did kind of yeah, so I jumped ahead on a lot of that, but yeah. So yeah, then Mark and Eve, yeah. So then they go to Cecil after, and then I guess Cecil's like fine, all right, whatever, and you go be a hero. So then, yeah. So then, Invincible, to catch back up, Invincible just kind of drops in on the experiment going on, and then the one copy that we saw at or copy, Jesus, the one variant of, if you will, of Levy that we saw in the very beginning from the dimension that was getting torn apart by Omni-Man and Invincible. Like, he notices Mark and he's like angry because he hates him, and and Mark isn't helping the case either because he kind of bursts right in. He's like, "Hey, shut it down, or I'll do it." He's like, "I'll do it for you," and so fight ensues because the Marauders are supposed to protect Levy.
I do like how Levy was trying to talk down Invincible though, and trying to just be like, wait, this is like this isn't a grand evil scheme. This is for the greater good. Like, I don't want to hurt anybody. Please.
Yeah, and I like how he said that, and then Mark said, "Yeah, I've heard that before." Talking about his dad, and I was like, "Ah, shit!
It's just like,
this ain't gonna end good." Yeah, this ain't gonna end good at all. So yeah, I like too how like they're fighting, and Levy's just like, "If you're not gonna back down, I'm sorry, kid," and he like opens all those portals, and all those different Marauder variants come through, and I chuckled.
Wait.
So you told us we were special. We were the only ones, and yeah, that was
we were
good.
Special.
I did like how they didn't have a lot of it, but they had like one time of the two Marauders we know. They had like the one moment where, like, the one said to the other, he's like, that's how we know that you're the clone. I was like, ah, there it is. I knew that was coming. Yeah. So
needed at least
anyways,
one.
right.
So all the Marauders, come out of the portal, and they just start. Well, actually, Mark holds his own in the beginning. He's beating some ass, but eventually the numbers game, it gets the best of him. He eventually just starts, whoop pop, and then eventually he just starts getting them cheeks clapped, as we say, just absolutely getting beat down. Probably getting flashbacks of when Papa was beating him down a few months back.
Probably
look pretty similar afterwards, but
oh yeah, and then he don't want to be in there. But then so Levy just is like, don't kill him, and they're like, the Marauders are basically like, hey, yeah, this is happening. Just
fuck
sit
you,
back.
bud.
I think the one even says to him like, sit back and enjoy the show. Just shut up, sit back and enjoy the show. And they're beating him to death, and then so as a pacifist as he is, he takes the helmet off when he's not supposed to, and
I will not allow my utopia to be built in blood.
Yeah, to be built in blood, and then causes everything to blow the hell up.
Bang! Everybody just decimated, cremated.
Yeah,
dust.
And then everyone else shows up, and I like it because the Guardians show up, and Mark's just there still, and they're like, "Huh, I guess he really is invincible." And I was like, "Okay, that's
oh my
god,
a little
much."
I'm so glad you brought it up because they teased it like at least 5 or 6 times throughout this episode, and as soon as like they didn't do it after the second one, I was like, all right, it's either at the very end or it's coming in at the like a big point in the middle. And I think the way it paid off in the end was, I liked it. Good gimmick. It's a good gimmick. I'm all about it.
Yeah.
But they teased the Invincible title screen again. Rex compliments Mark, telling him that he did a good job, even though Mark doesn't feel so, because despite all the Marauders dying, all of the countless, presumably all of the other, maybe not, the other Levies from all the other dimensions died too, which I would imagine they did, unless they somehow got ported out. But so he's feeling a massive amount of guilt. Rex says, I mean, you basically did the best, I think, this is the best outcome considering all the marauders you were
Right.
facing and everything. And Cecil agrees, saying like, "That's what you get for following my orders. Job well done,
Yeah.
brother."
Mm-hmm.
So we fly. I feel like I'm skipping something because the next scene I'm going to is, I feel like, towards the end. Pick me up, KP. Pick me up.
Goes home. He goes home. He offers to cook dinner. His mom's passed out.
Spilt wine glass.
Spilt wine glass. Everything. Yeah. So he offers to make her dinner, and then that kind of happens, and then we get to the what you brought up earlier. Then we kind of get to the college letters.
Oh yeah, him and oh my god. You have the character list. What's her name, KP?
Amber.
Amber, that's right. So we find out that him and Amber gets in the same college together, which was very important to him. Well, both of them.
Right.
And then is it that when it cuts to the rubble, back to the ground zero?
Yeah, I mean, we're basically at the very end here, and like it goes back to the ground zero of the playing, and one of the marauders from our main dimension here is alive, but half of his skin is fried off.
He will now be Two-Face Marauder.
Pretty much.
Hope he carries a coin. Useful for him in negotiation.
Dude, he's just gonna clone himself, and then that clone's gonna probably kill him, and then clone himself, and it'll be back to they'll look normal. If I had to really guess. No, and then that marauder uncovers the main levy that survived, and he's mutated, like his brain has grown down his back, and he's like, you turned me into a freak, and he's like, no, you did this to yourself. He's like, I told you not to interrupt the process. And then he starts speaking in riddles and saying how he's like, I have to kill him, and he's talking about Invincible, because what it is that the personality of the one from like the Doomsday dimension, I think, is like the main driving like force here in his brain. Because the Marauder says like, yes, what I told you was going to happen exactly happened. You know, you're confused on which one you are, and the memories are screwing with you. And so then like he opens the portal, and like he goes somewhere, and then the Marauder just kind of walks away.
I did like during this conversation, we do, I think, see the effect of all of his other personalities affect his brain, because he well, I mean, which is obvious, but I love how the Marauder actually corrects him in this when he was like, it's his fault that this has happened to me. And like you alluded to, he's like, well, he like, the Marauder specifically says like, no, it was your fault. Like, not Mark's fault. Like, Mark didn't do this to you. Invincible didn't do this to you. Like, you did it to yourself.
Right.
And, but he's just so delusioned by all the other, visions
all
of
the others.
Mark and probably Omni-Man killing everybody. But then we do finally get the nice title drop when Marauder's like, well, we should get you to a hospital. And he was like, no, I don't need a hospital. Like, I need to revenge. I need to kill. And then bang, Invincible. I was like, yeah! Yeah!
Superhero shit, yeah! Yeah, woo! I mean, that was obviously, dramatic effect.
And then like you said, after the title screen, Levy portals out, and the Marauder that we have left just walks off. And that's it. End of episode 1 of season 2. Fuck yeah. Fuck yeah.
Pretty much, yeah. So a lot of interesting things to come. You know, obviously this version of Levy is gonna travel across dimensions. Who knows to do what? Probably to figure out a way to kill Mark. I would imagine.
Yeah, I think the plan has probably changed from whatever it originally was.
Yeah. I'd say so too. So like you said, so this is probably gonna be our big bad throughout the entire season, and it'll be interesting. Wonder how much opportunity is there for like I'm sure that like do you think we're gonna get a payoff that the main dimension is gonna have Mark fight Mark that from the other dimensions that agreed to join his dad? I mean, I'm sure. Like to have like a fruition of that self conflict, that ultimate test of like the Mark that we like, the Mark that we root for is gonna see physically the version of himself that did truly turn into what his dad was because he joined his dad. So like he's gonna see the heartless bastard that he could be. So like they're gonna like have that development hopefully. Obviously we haven't read source material. I'm not going to. That would be pretty interesting.
I'd say I could definitely see them going down that line. It will be really, really interesting to see how they play with these diverse elements. I mean, obviously we have that fucking go like every divulge now, but or digest now. But could go that. I hope in a weird way maybe that he like teams up with that Mark and like they team up and like kill Omni-Man together or something. I don't know. Or at least the new big bad, maybe not Omni-Man, but I don't know. It'll be real interesting to see, or maybe. Oh no! Oh, we kind of skipped over. Even the alternate universe is paralyzed now. Fucking brutal, and is almost like a full circle moment from last season when Omni-Man basically called his pet to him.
Right.
Like that's effectively what this Mark Grayson and alternate universe makes a pet.
Yeah.
Like, I'll come visit. I wanted to be able to visit her. It's like
yeah.
Like, well, you definitely like your father more than you think in that universe.
Right.
But that was another great line by J.K. Simmons, just out of nowhere, just like does it, and he's like, "I'm sorry you had to do that, Mark." She's not dead; she's just paralyzed. And he's just like, "Oh, so that's what you were practicing on them protesters this week."
Yeah,
I was like, Jesus.
Yeah, that was good.
All around banger episode, I think.
Yep.
Very, very excited. I think I'm gonna land at 8.6.
Say like 9 out of 10. It wasn't perfect, but 9 out of 10 for me.
Great start.
Yes.
So.
Yeah.
I don't know if they released a teaser for episode 2. I didn't watch it though. I probably won't.
They did not, and I will say too. There's also that special on there that I think is an episode entirely devoted to Eve. I did not watch it, but it's on there.
I think
I don't know if that's
her backstory. I think
is it, and I don't know if that came out. If that came out just recently or with this episode, I don't remember seeing that.
I think it came out after last season.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I probably just never watched it.
I actually don't think I've watched it either, but from my knowledge, I think it's just a special that's all about Eve, so you kind of know her whole backstory.
Oh, okay. Cool.
Actually, I probably should watch that.
I was say, yeah, right. Watch it.
That did pop up for me. I finished it.
Yeah.
So highly recommend. Definitely check it out, especially if you like more mature, I guess, superhero content.
The violence.
The blood. I'm here for it. But why we can't give that box scene in Loki most brutal? It's like, I'm sorry.
Gotta keep shitting on whoever the hell made that comment.
No, which I need to reply to them. Respect for watching and commenting. yeah, that's it. It's time for us to just, I guess, move on and start talking Loki in this next.
So speaking of Loki,
so.
so we're gonna move on over to Loki now.
So yes, appreciate you guys if you like what you saw. If you want more reviews for Invincible season 2 going forward, give us a like, give us a subscribe, ring the bell notification so you know anytime we post a new video. We also, with our content, we'll have a new Gen V coming out, and of course Loki. We've got 2 more weeks left. Well, episode 5, which we're about to film, and then 6 next week. So, and then the Marvels, of course. It's a loaded couple weeks finally. It's been a drought, but yeah. Until next time. See you later. I'm your boy, Jsib.
And I'm the other boy, KP.
Oh yeah, plugs. Where can I find you, KP?
I mean, you can find me at twitch.tv / this way. KevinNation _ because KevinNation was taken by someone who doesn't even use their account on Twitch, so that's cool. Politis K on Twitter /X. And yeah.
And you can find me on Twitter or X, gonna give it to you at Jsib20, as well on twitch.tv. I usually stream the Destiny, sometimes other variety things. But that's also at twitch.tv /Jsib20. So until next time, we appreciate you. See ya. Later.